Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from Elfuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me in the red corner, without messing up his name, is Connor.
Finally. It's been a solid month of getting that wrong, so it's nice to see you getting back into the swing of introducing me correctly.
I didn't even try to do it the last couple of weeks. I just thought, no, you know what, I'm feeling confident, I'm feeling good. We are a day later than usual with this episode. It didn't seem like a big deal this time, though, since there's no new Supergirl tonight. So I didn't feel like we were overlapping with the next thing, which is why I really hated being late last week. Why are we a little bit late this week? Blame Westworld finale for having a long episode. But don't worry about that in the future, because it was the finale, so we'll be back to normal.
It was a combination of that, plus you were recording a bunch of movies before that.
It was, yes. Yeah, it was a combination of Jurassic World 2 and the Westworld finale being long, is why we couldn't get out yesterday. But regardless, we're here now, and we'll be on our usual late Sunday night schedule until the shows start back up again in October. Which, actually, I remember the casting news, but we probably should talk about the schedule, because the CW announced the return dates for all the shows.
Can you remember them, or have you got to go get those up again?
I couldn't tell you what the dates were. I can tell you what days everything was on and how staggered they are.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, so we do have a little bit of news before we get to the shows, but we are talking about the Supergirl finale, of course, and we're also working through some off-season content, meaning the episode of Smallville, episode of Lois and Clark, New Adventures of Superman, and an episode of Young Justice season 2. So that's what's coming up in the show. So in terms of the news, so just the casting stuff very quickly out of the way. We had another bump up to regular on one of the shows that was on Flash. The Mystery Girl. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, if you did watch the finale, you know who it is. But just in case, because I know some people might use the timestamps, skip the Flash because they can't watch that till later, and then come back. So I'm going to be nice for now. You know, once we get to the new seasons, it'll be just whatever. But
yeah, well, when it's in the new season, I think it's fair game. But
yeah, but people might still be catching up over the summer. So just the Mystery Girl, she is now a season regular. And it makes sense if that's what they're setting up. And I said this in the TV news this week, that I'm pleased that it means that what they set up in the finale isn't something that's going to be done with by the end of episode 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's been a real problem with this show.
Yeah.
You know, every season it's a big cliffhanger. Never mind.
Last time it was Granted Speed Force, time before that was Flashpoint.
Even season 1 with the big thing in the sky.
Oh yeah, the Speed Force, or the ripple or opening or whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever that was, and then it
been
was.
A while.
Oh yeah, we dealt with that 3 minutes into the season 2.
Yeah, so I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm glad it felt really well rounded, and in fact, something with Supergirl as well. I think. I mean, there is a tease at the end of the episode. It's just sort of here's what might be going on next season, but it's quite well rounded before that point. It's just it's like a post-credit scene almost of things for next year. So again, that didn't feel like it was good. Whereas last season, I feel like the Mon-El stuff. It was like, oh yeah, okay, he's coming back. It's fine.
They've actually done that every season on Supergirl. The first season as well, we had the ship coming in.
Yeah, that one was more of a direct cliffhanger, though. I thought.
Yeah,
that was more like the Flashes thing.
It was, yeah. We actually picked up with that, right? Like that same scene, start of season 2.
We did. And arguably, I suppose that was better than what Flash does, because that didn't actually just get wrapped up. That was just, okay, here's the new thing, and that was an ongoing thing for the season.
Yeah, I think it was maybe a little disappointing because it was treating it as this big mystery, and then it was like, oh, it's just that, it's fine.
Yeah. It was maybe a bit cheap in that sense, but they didn't just brush past it immediately at the start of the season. Yeah. Whereas Flash, and yeah, I know that, okay, sure, he was trapped in the Speed Force, he came right out, but that fueled the plot for the Thinker stuff all season. Okay, it technically did, but the actual going into the Speed Force was...
There was no consequence to it. The Thinker stuff could have been sparked by anything.
Yeah, exactly. They tied it into that, but it could have been anything. If anything, it just made the Thinker's plot more convoluted with how he triggered the whole thing into action with all the different elements.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's good. She's a regular next year. Cool stuff. And then the other one is kind of a negative one on Supergirl. We had a demotion for... I don't think we had Win last week, right? We didn't talk about Jeremy.
No, we didn't.
Or Jeremy Jordan. Yes.
Jordan. Yes.
We didn't talk about him being demoted to a recurring guest star next year, which kind of sucks. Obviously, the finale we'll talk about, because it actually does kind of set up why, in plot, that is. As for why the actor's doing this, because obviously we like him a lot, he's very talented and he's probably wanted elsewhere. So this is just kind of reducing the role. It's a shame, but the show does maybe have too many characters and it doesn't know what to do with them all. So
yeah, it sucks because he's probably the best character. Yeah, out of the side ones.
Out of the side ones, sure, yeah.
And I mentioned just a couple of weeks ago, I felt he'd gotten a bit of the short shift this season, and I was hoping to get more next season, and then well, I guess not.
At least the door's open for him to pop back in here or there, and it feels a lot better than, say, how Thea left Arrow, or how whoever
Yeah, I'm with you.
So it's better in that sense. But hey, so that is the cast of stuff. Yeah, so the return dates, I believe it was the week of the 14th is when the show started coming back, but I don't have it in front of me, but it's around then. But the important part is kind of how staggered it is when they come back, because Connor can double check, he's fact checking.
I'm just getting if I get the first night, and we'll go from there.
So basically they're staggering them out a little bit, and the first week back, the only shows that are starting back is Flash and Black Lightning. They start on the Tuesday that week.
Yeah, that's Tuesday the 9th.
Right. And I'm technically wrong because Supergirl's that week as well. But the reason why I'm saying they're the first ones back is because Supergirl's not until the Sunday, so I'm kind of thinking that is the start of the following batch. Because if you think of it, because they're in a cluster, it's Sunday to Tuesday. And Supergirl's the following cluster is kind of what I'm thinking in my head. So Supergirl starts back the Sunday after that, and then the Monday night after that, Arrow starts back.
Yes.
And then it's not until another whole week when Legends comes back in the same night as Arrow's on. So
yeah, so you have Tuesday, Flash and Black Lightning. The Sunday immediately after that, Supergirl.
Yes.
Then the Monday, so the next day,
is
Arrow, and then another week for Legends.
Yeah, so we have to wait a little bit longer for Legends, but hey, okay. It's got less episodes, so I guess it just means it lasts a little bit longer later on. That's okay.
Yeah. I think that obviously the main reason that you consider it, Sunday the start rather than being the end of the week is because when it gets to crossover, they're starting on the Sunday.
Yeah, they're not going to have it be Monday, Tuesday. Wait, like most of the week.
Yeah, it's going to be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Absolutely, that's absolutely what's going to happen. Hell, if anything, they might take Black Lightning off for a week and put Supergirl in that slot just so it's 2 nights again.
They might well do, yeah. I
could see them doing that. Assuming, of course, Black Lightning in no way ends up tied into it, but. Yeah. You never knows. So that's what's happening when they come back. I think it's interesting that it does mean when we get to crossover, they're all going to be on slightly different numbers, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, assuming that there's no random breaks to, the Flash doesn't have a break to catch up with.
Oh, it could do.
Arrow's on the same.
It could do, because it would just be Flash actually. Assuming Black Lightning's out of it would just be Flash that has to
take the 1 week break.
Yeah.
And then Legends would just be on its own thing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's fine. Legends can do whatever the hell it wants.
Pretty much. So that was the news this week.
Oh, that does remind me. I did see another promotion for Legends. Nora is a series regular.
Oh, I did see this. You're right. Joe, I didn't think of that. It's because it was after the news.
Yeah, it was.
Because we did the TV news on Friday. This came like late Friday night, Saturday after we recorded that. That's why I didn't think of that. You're right. Yeah. So yeah, we got Nora, aka Brandon Routh's wife, who's got a regular job out of this. So
I'm fine because she was a great addition to the season.
Yeah, she was good. Her chemistry with him was great. I mean, and you're saying that shouldn't be surprising. They're married, yes, but we've seen married couples on these shows before have zero chemistry, and then they got divorced. Just it was.
Yeah, I know.
Writing was on the wall, is all I'm saying.
I thought these pair were alright for a long, healthy relationship.
Exactly, yes, they're good for a while. But no, she was a good addition, and we expected to see her back. She has kind of a redemption kind of thing going for her, so she'll be kind of this darker hero who's got a dark past. Who?
Can you stop saying dark?
Did I tell me? I'll say it twice.
Yeah, I know, but Nora Dark.
Oh, I didn't even mean that. She's a darker hero. With an H. There's an H in that spelling.
Yeah, I thought you were doing it intentionally.
No, I wasn't, no. But yeah, so she'll have a bit of a redemption thing going. She'll be like kind of an anti-hero who maybe joins the team. I could also see her being kind of solo and doing her own thing. Kind of like how Ava's a season regular now, but she isn't going to be on the team with the Legends.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Having her on the ship, I think it could be fun, though. I think the banter, not just with Ray, but just everyone, like her being around and them having to put up with her could be interesting. So no, cool. So we'll go to shows there. Let's talk about TV shows. Let's talk about Supergirl Season 3, Episode 23, the finale. This is the first time it's got a 23rd episode. This is Battles Lost in One, is the name of the episode. And this wrapped up all the plots for the season. We left last week with the world's going to be destroyed and then reborn because, Rain's inside the core and there's a fountain inside Sam's mystical world, which that part's so stupid. I don't like it at all. Anyway, This was such a roller coaster of a finale for me, because I was like, I really love this moment and what this is doing for a character. Oh, I hate this bit. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's really good again. This is great. Oh no, then this is terrible again. It's so
kind
back
of
and
a
forth
mess in that sense, isn't it?
But look, for every, that's not how the time travels worked on this show. There's equally a moment of like, oh, they just froze a giant tsunami in the blast. This is fun stuff. I'm enjoying, like.
But on that note, so. I complained last week of, oh, okay, end of the world, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Why bother if you're going to fix it before the titles? That was done before the Supergirl logo came up.
It was indeed, yes.
I just feel like, what's the point?
I mean, I think everything that happens in it's fine. I guess what you're saying is it should have been the end of last week's episode as opposed to the start of an episode.
Or just not had it. Like, I don't understand what, it serves no purpose other than, have an action sequence.
It's for Marin more than anyone else, I think, actually, because it's his kind of sacrifice that saves everyone.
It is, but I feel like that's poor writing to do a whole big end of the world thing just for that. I feel like there was a better way to do this.
I guess you're kind of right, but some of this stuff was my favourite stuff in the episode. So at the same time,
I can't argue with that. It was fun, but I'm like, what's this? What's the point in this? It has no impact on anything other than Marin has his exit, and then the Legion show back up.
Yeah, Legion are back.
That's it.
James has his moment where he takes off his helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's stuff in there.
It feels just we wanted some action at the end.
Oh, at the start.
Well, but at the end of the season.
Sure, but start of the episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I think I'm okay for superheroics existing just for the sake of the superheroics. I guess.
I think I'd be more okay with it if it wasn't a world-ending event.
Sure.
That was over in 3 minutes.
Oh, we have to bring up though. We mentioned last week why is Superman not showing up, and they actually address that. So in Madagascar, the other end of this earth-shattering event, he's there dealing with that.
Not even a glimpse of him on the TV though.
He wasn't on TV. It was a photograph, but he was there.
Yeah, no, but that's my point. Like they had a news report. I thought, just do a footage, just show him flying across or something. Do a little video thing.
This was cheaper.
I know, but it felt too cheap.
This was cheaper. They didn't want to get the actor back for just for the one
cameo. You didn't even need the actor. Just do like a CG, just the flying across.
Oh, I agree. Who's filming this flying across?
Phone footage. There's always someone filming.
Oh, I can see. So you're thinking ground level. Someone looks up and sees him flying towards a building or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I see what you're saying.
I don't think that would have been too much.
For some reason in my head, I was thinking like a pan as he's flying across the sky. I'm like, who's filming this professionally? They're getting the perfect pan shot for the news.
No, I'm just well-done event. People are definitely taking videos.
Oh, they're running for their lives.
They're doing both.
Okay, all right. No, I can't argue with that, but yeah. I mean, honestly, like I can't really argue with the complaint that ultimately they could have just done something else in this big world-ending event. But I had so much fun with that stuff and I have problems with other things far more than I do any of this.
Oh yeah, me too. Don't worry.
I don't know. Like I'm fine with it.
Also, this got me my Star Wars reference for the week.
Oh, that was the only part I didn't like about this whole thing. Was that stupid Star Wars reference? Kara, Star Wars is not the most important thing to show an alien AI from the future. All right.
I think it is pretty up there though.
No, you show him alien for a laugh, because it's got both androids and aliens in it.
I get that, but Star Wars is better.
And then you start calling him mother, and see how he takes it.
Well, I might be rather offended.
So that's a big fun opening. There's the action sequences, heat vision, the freezing the tidal wave I thought was fun and whatnot. So good stuff there. Then it gets kind of murky because it gets into the Sam stuff, and Sam herself I like well enough, but ever since they introduced this astral plane thing where she goes inside her head and other people can go there too, and now there's a fountain, and now her horrible actress of a mother is in there giving her advice.
I don't understand this. I was convinced the entire time that this is a trick that this world's playing on her, and it's not.
Yeah, Joe, the fifth is though is I assumed it was a trick, and then there's the whole moment where it's like, oh, there's two fountains, one will make you stronger, one will make you weaker, and I'm like, okay, and it's like they want us to like not be sure like which way is it going, and then we come back and she's been drinking like buckets of this water,
and then she sings a lullaby and she's like, I knew you were real. I'm like, how is she real? How is this person here? This doesn't make any sense. Isn't she dead?
Which is why she's probably here, because she's...
This isn't an afterlife. Don't give me that bollocks. This is an astral plane that is a different dimension. How is this person here?
Because Rain killed her, right?
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah. She absorbed her.
No, I'm not having that bollocks.
She's in there because she was absorbed.
No, this is utter shite.
Do you know what's funny? Is I hated all this as well, but my complaint wasn't that how could she be here? How could she be real? My complaint was just how like ill-conceived and contrived the whole thing was, and how hammy it was.
The point of any of it?
That's what bothered me, was how hammy the whole thing was, and that there's this magic fountain, which isn't really a fountain; it's two pools of water.
Yeah, I think a fountain has to shoot water, right? Otherwise, it's just a pond.
Sure. Someone's going to give us the actual dictionary definition of a fountain here.
I would assume a fountain has to, have some sort of system to propel water, not necessarily upwards, but at least outwards, or
I'd have thought so too, but someone will probably correct you because you're so sure of yourself and you're sounding a little bit arrogant because you're just assuming.
Fine, but I said I would assume.
Yes, I would assume too that you would need some sort of that, or even what I would accept if it was like a little fall, a little waterfall. I'd be like, you know what, I'll accept that's what you meant by fountain.
That's propulsion.
Yeah.
The water is spilling over the side. This is just still water.
It's basically a puddle. Let's be honest. It's a puddle.
Me calling it a pond was generous.
It's a puddle.
It is.
Anyway, so that's whatever, and then she wakes up and she's got her Kryptonian powers as Sam, but Rain's still there. The witches have pulled Rain out of the crust of the earth and she's all angry and ready to go. But Cultman, realising that he's made a bit of a boo-boo, gets into Jean's ship and just turns things on to hopefully indicate where this is. So they know where it is and they're hopeful, and it leads to obviously the team coming to deal with things. Now, the actual part of stuff that I kind of liked was the debate of like, should we just kill her, and Supergirl's against it, and then now there's obviously bumps along the way. I'll get to those in a minute, but the core idea of killing her led to worse things, and then Supergirl then questioning, oh, I dropped my ideals. I've lost like sense of who I'm supposed to be. I like that idea in that moment, right? Like her again acting there plays it quite well. And her realising, no, there's always another way, I should do the other way, this is not who I am, right? I like that core idea. That moment played quite well for me. Her deciding, no, I'm going to do something about this, the nice, like, she's doing something, big music kicks in.
Yeah.
The problem is that she's like, look, she grabs the Legion ring, and she's like, okay, this'll help me, go back in time. She's like, find me a disruption in space so that I can fly through like the Legion do. And I'm like, okay, she's going to go back in time. And I started laughing because I was thinking of Superman the movie.
I was as well. Yeah. I was waiting for a shot of just flying around the earth.
Yeah, I was thinking of Superman the movie. And she's like, fly. And you know what? The drama of the moment's fine. Like, we're hearing quotes from the season as everyone tells her that, how important she is to them, and the music's blaring up. And I'm like, fine, we're going to go back in time, whatever. And then she just is, like, in her same body again? When the time travel in this with the Legion has never worked like that.
Yeah, I see. That's what I thought. I'm thinking maybe the ending bit undoes this somehow.
Sure, okay, yeah, the ending maybe, like, that's the one who went to the future, and now because the original one never went, this is like the anomaly at the end. Is this weird, like, one who is wandering around?
Maybe thinking,
okay, all right.
In the moment, it's still like.
Okay, maybe that's why she crash lands in Siberia, because she's up somewhere and she plummets.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I never put that together. That's actually not bad.
Like, because does the Kara, after she goes back in time and we see Kara, continuing the fight, does she remember that she's time traveled?
The one who's in the fight still?
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think
Well,
if it
actually-
directly addresses it, or does she just reverse time essentially and gives it a second chance and hopes she'll do something different the
Actually,
second time
now
around?
that you mention it, I thought she did because she turns around and says no. Because I felt like she was acting upon having the knowledge, but she never
That's
actually.
what I thought at the time, but I don't
Yeah.
think she addresses it again later.
She never actually confirms that she did that, well or not, and no one else would know because she reversed time.
Yeah. So I'm thinking she just reversed time, Superman the movie style. She just rewound.
But not by
Earth
spinning
a
the
little.
Earth round, though, because that's
Yeah, but
also
just
stupid.
rewound time a little to that moment. She crash lands in Siberia, and then 1.0 version makes a different choice for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure why she makes a different choice.
I feel like it
without
has
that
to be
knowledge.
influenced by what she does, like because she went back in time. Like even if it's just the inner like instinct is updated.
Sure. I don't
Honestly,
know.
my other problem with this is I love the visual of Rain as she's like falling through the crust of the earth, like with the heat vision. That visual's fantastic. I don't quite understand why her heat vision instantly kills a Kryptonian, Mon-El. Sam I'll accept, even though she's kind of Kryptonian, but she's more murky, so I'll accept her. But the other two, I don't get why it kills them.
Yeah, we've
outright.
seen them take heat vision blasts repeatedly over the seasons.
Unless
right?
you're telling me it's like triple heat vision because she's like combined with the other world
Just
killers.
spears straight through him.
It does.
I mean,
yeah.
it was very satisfying. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, when Mon-El gets it, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. A little disappointed we had to undo that, but
Was. And do you know the funny thing about this is that here's the thing. Earlier in the week before I watched this, I saw an article title saying explaining Mon-El's exit from Supergirl, and I got really excited. So even earlier in this episode, when it sounded like Imra was kind of like, Mon-El, you don't have to come back. If this is what you want to do, blah, blah, you can do it. I accept that. Maybe we weren't a perfect pair. Even during that scene when it sounds like, oh, we might have to keep him and he'll date Kara again, I was like, nope, he's leaving. I saw that article title. I'm so happy. Right? So, after reading that, and then Sam and, like, Kara's mum, those are totally killable characters. So I actually thought, as everyone was down and dead and Jean was still alive, and she was really upset, I thought, this might just stick.
yeah, no, I did too.
Yeah, like, these are all characters we could lose.
Yeah, definitely.
But then she
It's almost a shame that we didn't,
It's almost a shame, specifically for Mon-El's sake.
and also because it made the rest of it really murky.
It made it
on Earth
weird.
happened.
And do you know the fact is though, is that this annoyed me quite a bit. But it's just, the sad truth is here is that this is the exact sort of same shit that Flash pulls. It's the exact same shit that even Legends, which I love, but Legends gets away with that a little bit more because it's such a much more of a comical show than it is.
Like we said a lot,
series.
it's a cartoon.
Yes.
It's a live action cartoon.
Right? But Supergirl, Flash, and Arrow as well. Although Arrow doesn't encounter this specific problem as much because it tends to deal with just non-superpowers
time travel,
and time
yeah.
travel and big ideas like that. But Flash pulls this all the time as well, where it's inconsistent with its rules and what it does.
And we've given that plenty of shit.
We
He
have.
had diagrams in the past.
Inconsistency of how powerful someone is, which is kind of what this is here with the heat vision and then the time travel itself. Although, if we're right about why this is a second Kara, because I assumed the second Kara came from like when she comes back and she grabs the rock and like both Rain and Sam and Kara all go into the thing. I thought the copy of Kara came from this and like the stone split her in two. That's what I was thinking.
True. That is possible because the Harrow does split, right?
Because it split Sam and Rain, put them back together. So I was thinking that's where the second Kara came from, which is why I never considered that.
No, I did consider that as well. I think that's quite possible. I'm just trying to find an explanation. For
Especially since we cut to that Siberia last scene after the Lena scene with the rock, and I thought it was like linking. It was like the rock led to her.
That makes
But it
sense.
may not be though. It may just be two separate like teases. Which, by the way, I like see. Supergirl's like she's sitting with Alex. Like, oh, I think we're going to be okay. Fade to black. And then it cuts to Lena. I'm like, oh, this is the villain tease. And she's got the rock, and she's like, Miss Tessmacher, it's time for phase 2. And I'm like, yes, we're getting villain Lena. It's slow. I mean, she may not be outright villainous at the start of the season, but what she's doing is shady, and it's going to build, and it's going to build until she's just an outright villain. Gold.
It's exactly what we need.
Exactly. No, having a villain that we're already invested in, like Lena, is exactly what the show could use. And having this weird second Kara who, at least from just the visual, looked confused, like she didn't know who she was.
Yeah, she looked like she had some memory problems.
Yeah, which is funny given the Lois and Clark we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that as well.
But so, it's just funny. Like, as much as there's a lot of problems in this episode, I am kind of like, okay, all this stuff is set up for next season. Like,
See, this
potential.
Is the thing. I like the things it set up, but I think it's a mess of an episode, and I think it's a horrendous conclusion to the season.
The pacing's all over the place. Like it goes back and forth. It feels like the biggest thing happens in the first 5 minutes, and then, I know we have the emotion, and the emotion almost got to me. Like the actual emotion of Carol. Everyone's dead, and she's like, "Oh no, I did things wrong. I have to be better than this." That core idea of like a super character, like having that moment.
I think if it had lasted a little bit longer to let it sink in before she just undoes it, I think it would have had way more weight.
Yeah, and she's got a Legion ring now. Mon-El leaves it behind, and we have to talk about where all the other characters end up in their conclusions. Mon-El is going back to the future. I didn't even mean that, but I'll take the reference to a fantastic movie all the same. Because he was going to stay, but him and Wynn are both going to the future. Like, Wynn's joining the Legion, and the reason why he's joining the Legion is because, okay, they stopped Pestilence. However, because they stopped Pestilence, the evil Brainiac, the main Brainiac that everyone knows and loves, currently featured on season 1 of Krypton, he is still alive in the future, and he has developed a virus to kill all other AIs, so he's the only one who's left. So Brainy's staying back, hence why he's a regular next year. He's kind of replacing Wynn, and those are guys going. So it doesn't mean we can have them back here or there, and I'm sure there'll be plots where we bring them back for events and things like that. But
schedules permitting.
Yes, but Brainy is staying in the present day, and we find out that the tech that Wynn designed, the little diagram he drew, is actually in the museum, the archives in the future, because it was the basis of like a lot of their technology. Yeah. And he's like, you told me multiple times I'm not a 12th level intellect. Well, I might have, jumped the gun a little bit on that. You kind of, with the inspiration for all of our technology. Oh well. I'm happy to have Brainy around though. I like that.
I do as well. Like I like him. It's just I like Wynn more. Obviously,
it's a shame to lose Wynn. I feel like it's the price. We get rid of Mon-El, but the price is Wynn has to go with him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a price I was willing to pay.
Do you know what I want to give respect for actually? Because they have that like goodbye between Supergirl and Mon-El, and that's where he gives her the ring. And they have a kind of sweet conversation where they kind of reminisce and like, you've inspired me, but but little too sweet, honestly. Mm. But I'll tell you something I appreciated that occurred to me during that scene is they never kissed all season, because I think there was multiple times this year I thought they were going to have that one kiss they shouldn't have, and then they'll be talking about it for 2 weeks. It'll be that should never have happened, Mon-El. We can't do this to Imra, and like I was expecting. So I want to give it some points for that. They never did it.
Credit, yeah.
They held back on that. Jean's given up his job. He's going to wander the earth. He wants to be a man of the people, and
they did confirm that he's still a regular next season, because obviously people were questioning after this.
Yeah, I never questioned it because they never announced he was, because they announced Wynn was going to step down as a regular. So because they never did it for him, I just assumed he's still going to be here. We're still going to follow that plot.
They've been announcing a handful over these past couple of weeks, so it could have been just they didn't know yet.
Yeah, sure.
But no, they confirmed he's a regular, so it's all good. So
we're still going to follow his plot. He's walking about. I like him in the hat. I don't know why, but he looks good in the hat.
He does look good in the hat, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks good in the hat. We have Alex, who actually throughout the episode is like ready to like step down from her job, because we sort of brought this up last week, where the idea of having a kid, but also having this job where she's constantly putting herself on the line and constantly almost dying, that she would have to give up one or the other. She couldn't have a kid and be a single parent and do that, and vice versa. Yeah. But Jean's like, no. If you're in charge as the director of the DEO, you're not out in the field being the one in danger. You stay back and call the shots. So she's now the director.
Cool, but it's also a shame because it presumably means a more limited use of the cool magnet suit and crazy leaps off buildings.
It does. Give it to Brainy. Brainy can use that in addition to his flight ring.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? I don't know. I'll tell you what, I am shocked that Sam's alive. I really expected her to die and then Ruby to be adopted.
Me too. I thought Ruby's dialogue to Alex was really cringeworthy and probably some of the most awful writing that she's had all season.
No, that's fair. It's too on the nose. It's too... Here's what your character did for my character.
It's like, you gave me the faith that in people, and I'm like, no kid says this.
No adult says this.
No, exactly, but especially a kid. It's even worse.
Yeah, no one speaks like that. That was cheesy TV writing, 101. I can't argue with that. It was really up and down. Like for everything I liked, there was something else that was like, or
Yeah, it's a weird episode.
I feel like I had to like fix. I do wonder if the delay and the production troubles did kind of mess with the writing for the rest of the season.
Maybe.
I wonder if they had to change gears. I wonder if like the rain stuff was meant to end differently, because so much of that got into our head and in the fountain, all that stuff was like the last half of the season.
Hold out of its ass at the end. Like I know obviously we spoke about on Flash specifically with how that kind of lost steam. We wondered if Kreisberg leaving, being fired, had an effect. Was Kreisberg involved in this one quite heavily?
He was involved with both. Those were the two that were affected by him leaving.
Yeah, so I do wonder if, just lost the man at the helm. And, not to say he was the best writer or anything like that, but more, he was the one who knew where it was going. And the others just didn't know yet. And then they were like, oh shit, we don't actually know what the plan for this was.
Yeah, and obviously we're not saying in any way that we think he should have stayed on until the end of the season. No, he got fired for a good reason. He should be gone.
Oh yeah, of course.
This is just an unfortunate byproduct of the right thing happening, is that the two shows maybe struggled a little bit in the writer's room because they were trying to regroup from the change. With a bit of luck though, both can come back swinging a little bit. With full seasons planned out with a new team, new leader.
Here's hoping, yeah.
I mean, they both had murky seasons, and they both had high points. Supergirl, I think, more so.
Especially early on.
Yeah, Supergirl had more high points early on. Flash had one big high point in the second half. Supergirl's had some here or there that I quite liked.
I honestly, I think Flash was pretty good up until the body swap. That's when it went downhill, barring Flash time.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Supergirl was more... Maybe it wasn't as consistent before Christmas, and I think after Christmas it still had some great episodes, like that first Legion one after the break was great.
That was a blast.
And we have had some high points here or there that I think it's done some good stuff with.
Like, it just weird, like it squandered this. What's that?
It's a huge freaking spider.
It's your turn for once.
I need to kill that thing. I have washed the floor with its blood. Now, where was I? What were we talking about?
I was going to jump in and say, I feel like they squandered a lot of ideas in the back half of the season, like Argo City.
That was weird.
And this episode, you had Kara being like, "Oh, I wanted to go away and be just Kara Zora, just a normal person, but I realized this was my home." I feel like we didn't actually get that arc.
Not really, no. I like the idea of that arc.
And again, I thought it was the obvious thing to do. Once they introduced Argo City, we thought that's what was going to happen over the summer break. But I feel like I needed to see her come to that realization, because she went there, came straight back, went there again, and then I don't know. She didn't have any time to discover that wasn't a home. Does
Kara 2.0... I mean, I'm assuming that Lena or someone gets a hold of her and makes her evil for a while, but does she eventually go and live in Argo? Is that where they put her?
Oh, maybe.
And Lena gets a daughter out of it. She's like, here's a daughter. You need to teach her right from wrong again. Here, have a Kara. We'll keep this one.
Have a Kara. That's an interesting point, though. If she was split, does she have powers?
If she's split with a stone, that's good. I don't know. I have no idea. If it's the time travel thing where this is just the remnant, if you will.
Yeah.
Going back, then she would have powers, surely.
Yes, definitely.
But we'll see. And I am wondering if, like, Lena, when she's full on evil, like, finds her and, like, has her and, turns her into, not quite Bizarro Girl, but, like,
Yeah.
Evil, Luthor approved Kryptonian. I don't know. I'm hopeful for next season, because I feel like we've been looking forward to Lena going full evil. It feels kind of just right for it to go down that path. Like her at the end, feeling evil and like being kind of shady. I'm like, this just feels right. And I almost think way back in season 2 when she was first introduced and we were talking about her, we kept being like, oh, she's going to reveal herself to be evil any minute now. And I think it's because the performance and the way she is, she actually just suits being evil better than she does being the nice friend.
Yeah, this is funny. This is the exact same arc that she had in the Merlin.
Oh, really?
Where she was Morgana, the character was, and she was trying to be good, prove that she wasn't like the rest of them, and then eventually she got pushed away and became evil.
Yeah,
I think she just suits being evil better, doesn't she?
Yeah, either that or the second Supergirl, like Luna will kill her and get like enjoyment out of it, like in front of her, just to prove she can kill a Supergirl.
That might be crazy dark, and I want it.
Yeah, and Supergirl's going to have to watch like a copy of herself be killed. We could do things with that. We could do things.
Also, we never addressed whether or not Lena knows that Kara.
Oh yeah, we didn't. Yeah, even though she totally does, kind of.
She better do.
Yeah, I think she does. She totally does. We're getting to that next season. It's funny, that was the one thing we thought would be addressed by the end, and everything else we thought, oh, they can save that for season 3 and like really like explore it. They rushed through and dealt with within like 10 minutes. It's like, okay, all right.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like I said, I think the season lost direction. Where they didn't know what to do after the showrunner issues. They didn't actually have the direction mapped out ready, and then so I think everything that they've actually set up here is pretty strong. I like the ideas. So I think next season should be good, in theory. It's just that everything that was dealing with, okay, here's what we're wrapping up this season, actually concluding those plots, was not actually that good. It kind of got a bit of a mess.
It was definitely the last like 6 to 8 episodes that were the roughest patch of the season. And there was some like things to like give or take in there. There wasn't like, all misery, but
no, there was things to like individually in the episodes, but as a season as
plot,
a pace thing, it was kind of horrible.
The season plot was rough in that last chunk.
Yeah.
For sure. So it's a shame that it's kind of this thing though where no matter what, even if it was a fantastic finale, it was never going to make up for the season plot not being great. And the funny thing is though, is I don't even necessarily worry about it having a good finale in that sense, because I don't think the last 2 seasons really had great finales, because season 1 especially, the season plot wasn't the good part of the show, it was everything else like week to week more or less.
Yeah, so getting to the end and dealing with just the season plot was kind of a negative for it.
Yes. So with a bit of luck, we step up our game a little bit next season, and we get back on form. So we get Director Danvers, because they really shook up the status quo in this one. Director Danvers now, Jean's being a man of the people, he's going out there, and we'll see what that means and what he's actually doing. Alex is going to try and have a kid as well on top of
do we get Jean as just a regular detective?
With that hat, I could see it.
And that's his comic stuff is he's usually just a police detective.
Yeah, I could see it.
So that would be a really nice transition into that.
I could see it. Who am I forgetting? Well, we kind of mentioned Jimmy, but yeah, Jimmy's like exposed now. He's willfully exposed to the world. He wants to inspire.
He did the Iron Man thing, but really low key.
Yeah,
just
it was
on the phone. It's like, yeah, sure, go on then.
Yeah, it was basically like, obviously since he took his helmet off, it kind of like those rumors. Oh wait, is Jimmy Olsen? Is he the Guardian? And they just for him, he's like, yep, I'm Guardian. Hang up.
It felt really anticlimactic, didn't it? I feel like when he had his whole episode about it, it felt like he wanted to control the story. That was kind of the point, right? He wanted to come. When he thought he was going to get outed, he was going to go. He said, "You know what? I'm just going to go out and I'm going to control the story." Whereas this feels
well, to be fair, that was where it was specifically going to be used against them. Here, it wasn't being used against them. It was just
no, but all the world media going, "Hey, are you this?" And you feel like, especially when this man owns a paper, a TV station. This is exactly the guy who should be going, I can get ahead of this.
He runs those. He doesn't own them. He runs those things.
Fine. But the point is, he can go, no, I can get exclusive. I can get the headlines. I can do this.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Just in that episode, he was specifically being blackmailed with the threat of this being leaked. So he was going to control it by leaking it himself or announcing it himself. Here, this was more. He did it in the moment because the woman wouldn't trust him to save her kid, and he said to Win later on, I felt it felt great doing that, and I don't think I can go back. The trust that I got from just connecting on a human, and it's funny because that's basically Superman and Supergirl.
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to wear a mask.
Don't want to wear a mask. I mean Superman specifically. That's always been his thing. I don't want people to fear me, so they have to see my face and know that I mean them no harm, kind of thing. So yeah, marquee finale. Some good idea. That's the annoying part, I think, when it's been frustrating this back half, is that it's littered with good ideas.
Yeah.
Some bad ideas, like the fountain and the in the head dimension thing.
I just outright hate all of that stuff.
There was a point where when Supergirl grabs the rock and binds them all together, and they go into the thing, and Sam's just punching Rain in the face, like over and over, like, you're going to drink the weak sauce, and she's like, she's waterboarding her with the weak sauce, and and that's like what defeats Rain, because that's the whole thing, of course, is that there is one prison that can take her, and that's Sam. So like she's inside Sam essentially, but trapped, and she's weak and dormant again.
Yeah.
So watch us bring Rain back in like 2 seasons' time when the occasion calls for it.
It's just kind of bollocks, isn't it?
The whole thing is just gobbledygook. It's Speed Force levels of things. This does not make sense. They're just making up things.
So at least with Speed Force, it's so established into the DNA of the Flash show.
Sure, yeah.
At least it's like, well, sure, this was just, oh, hey, your mind goes to an alternate dimension, and there's a fountain here that gives you strength. And your mum's there, by the way.
Yep.
I just don't get it.
Yep, that stuff was balls. Because I didn't see when they first introduced it, I didn't hate it as much because I said, "Oh, it's just like a thing in our head," and then other people started getting into it, and I'm like, "Okay, what is this nonsense?"
It gets worse every time you see it. Like, this is one of the worst instances of it, because now there's people in there that I don't know why they're in there. At least before they were giving me reasons that Supergirl and whoever was going in. Now there's just, oh yeah, she's in here too.
I got none.
Can't. I never want to see this place again.
With a bit of luck, we never will.
I don't want it even referenced again. Forget it exists.
Yeah, I don't think we even have to ever mention it again. Hopefully, if we keep Sam and Ruby on the show.
Which, do we?
I don't know. They've not announced that she's leaving, because she was a regular this year. They've not announced that she's...
Well, but what role do they have? Like, we said, they already had a lot of characters. What role do they have? Other than, Alex being a surrogate mother at some point.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like Sam. Maybe it's to do with Lena's plot because Sam works for her. Maybe she'll be the one who starts to know she's doing evil things, and that'll be like a plot.
Oh, you mean you think we're gonna do stuff outside of the DEO?
Very possibly. It's been a while, actually. You bring that up. It's been a while.
Yeah, it really has. It's. I can't remember the last time we properly did something at Catco for more than like a scene.
Well, this episode had kick-ass Clark and then run out. Read that scene.
Yeah, but that was part of an action sequence. I mean, well, the last time Kara showed up for work.
Yes.
I think, and that was such a huge part of last season, her proving that she could be a journalist, right, and she could be better.
Yes.
And she went through that whole thing with Snapper Car, and that stuff was pretty good. And then, just forget all about that.
Yeah, we didn't have a Snapper this season. That all just went away. And I wonder who decided they didn't like that and just wanted rid of it because it's gone. It's kind of like in season 1 we had, and I'm glad she went away, but we had Lucy Lane.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think the Snapper stuff worked. It balanced out the human life side of stuff because we've got a lot of that from other characters, like Jean and the struggles with his father, Alex and wanting a child. Kara's not really had any human drama this season until maybe the end when her mum shows up. But
honestly, I think it's a fair complaint actually to say that Supergirl was almost a little bit neglected for the back half of this season, like as a character.
Yeah.
Like everything was revolving around the plot so much, and there was never like a personal stake in the villain for her directly.
No, I mean the closer you get is, oh, Sam's my friend.
Yes, but who was only introduced at the start of the season, so
yeah.
It's definitely messy, and it feels like, because I think the sad part about it is so much of our plot in the back half of season 2 was the bullshit Manila love story, which we hated, right? And whenever they did something else on that, the show was pretty good. And in this season, and it started off fine. Like again, I think everything, not even just before Christmas, I think everything up until about episode like 11, 12, something in that range.
Until the second break.
Yeah. Was pretty solid, right? It was mostly pretty good, and then there was some good stuff here and after, but the overall direction is where it suffered, and I think Kara herself has been a little bit neglected, and I think I hope that next year we get a bit more of a arc for her. And even though they're going to claim there's an arc here, like I'm sure if you talk to the showrunners this year, they'll say, no, that was the whole thing. She realised in the last episode that she's lost her way a little bit. And sure, they'd kind of had some of those kryptonite arguments on the build-up, but I don't think it was enough to really, like, oh, she's lost her way and now she's, like, finding her way back.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. As much as I didn't like any of the Mon-El stuff last season, at least there was she had a life outside of the DEO. She had a life outside of Supergirl.
Yes.
Like that Mon-El stuff, I didn't like it, but it played into that, and it wasn't the only thing because she had a job as well. Whereas this season, there's just been nothing outside of Supergirl. It's been just okay, fight stuff.
And she's the main character. And it's funny though, if you think about Flash, though. I mean, there was a plot reason for it, but even he kind of didn't have his job this year. It just kind of became he's just the Flash all the time.
Yeah, I think the show suffer for that a bit. I mean, I guess I have to, in a weird way, give Arrow a tiny bit of credit for at least doing the mayor stuff. I'm not saying it's good. No, again, not credit in execution. Credit in at least doing something.
I'll credit you if you execute him.
Yeah, I'll take it.
The character, not the actor, just in case anyone thinks I'm making a really dark joke. So, yeah. You know what? There's hope for season 4. I'm hopeful that it gets a bit better. Still better than Arrow. I'm saying it.
Well, yeah, I didn't need to get drunk for this.
Yes. Well, I still like the characters on the show. There's still things I like about it. It's not to the same extent. You know, when you talk about the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the characters are so good on that show that even when there is a bad episode like Beard Bad, there's still some lines in those episodes that you'll quote. There's still moments you'll remember and think, oh, that was funny. And you like the small beats throughout. These shows aren't written well enough to be that, but I still like a lot of the characters. I still like, you know, it's like seeing Wynn and Kara and Alex and Jean.
I agree, and I think that's like where a lot of the season fails is there's not enough of those interactions between just those characters. They're often very separate, just thrown together for plot.
There's almost too much plot, actually, now that I'm really thinking about it. There's not enough time to let them just sort of breathe and grow outside the plot.
Yeah.
But hey, there we go. That's Supergirl. That's the season finale. So back in October, and we'll see how it shapes up. At least this time, even though we'll see Mon-El again at some point, I don't feel the looming threat of him just coming back and we have to deal with him for good. Like, because coming out of this season, I remember being terrified. Oh, we're going to have him back after like 2 episodes. It took a little bit longer than that. And then there was like, oh, they're going to like make up. And I feel like this ending at least tells me, nah, they've accepted. They're not going to be together. He'll pop in for some action, I guess. Roles here or there, it's fine.
The real question is, do we bother with a love interest next year? Because, you know, I'm saying, oh, we do need a life outside of it. Will they actually do that? And if we do, can we finally get a good one?
Brainy.
Sure, why not?
Do it. He's an alien. They can bond. She can show him some movies, not Star Wars, and they can bond. And, yeah. And it'll be fun. It'll be great.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
Alright, I'll tell you who I'll accept as a love interest. They won't make me vomit a little bit in my mouth.
Go on.
Dick Grayson.
Why not?
I'll take Dick Grayson. Brady's also cool. All that said, though, that's only if we're not getting like Babs as well. If Babs is here as well, then no. Dick Babs forever. Come on now.
No, it's all about Starfire.
What sort of feel that? Oh, but no, Dick Babs. Starfire's great, don't get me wrong, but Dick Babs.
You're just paddling wrong about this.
No. I'm completely right. I think that'll be Alex and Kara can both be getting on with some bats because Batwoman's going to be around. So Alex is going to seduce her, and then
obviously,
we'll have Kara with Dick. I mean, Damien's too young.
Yeah.
An older Damien though might be a fun pairing though. Just in my head.
They can work out their anger issues together.
Yes, exactly. Not that chump Tim though. He's not good enough for her.
You dick.
All right, we're getting way too DC. See if someone who enjoys this show doesn't read the comics and just watches the TV shows. We just went down a deep end where no one knows who we're talking about. So I think we'll swiftly move on to whatever's next. That will take us on to Lois and Clark, the new adventures of Superman. This is season 1, episode 12. It's called All Shook Up. So, what was this one? This one was giant asteroid and horrible mid-90s TV CGI is coming towards Earth. And they need Superman to fly at it at full speed to destroy it. This one's bigger than the one that killed the dinosaurs. That was a really cheesy line, I thought, when the scientist tells him that. It was like really specific and just like so 90s TV. But he does so, and the plot of the episode is that after he does this, he crash lands on Earth again after hitting it, and the impact of the asteroid is basically giving him amnesia, and he doesn't remember that he's Superman, or he's even Clark Kent, and he's wandering around, and Lois has to try and help him a little bit at the planet. Then his parents show up because they hear he's... And I like that. I like that the parents actually come to, like, oh god, our boy needs our help, we need to go to Metropolis. Yeah. And that's the episode. So it's basically them trying to remind him, hey, you're Superman, son. You need to help. There's still a bit of asteroid coming towards Earth, and it's going to, kill millions of people if you don't do your thing. Yeah. So he tries to fly, and that's also quite amusing. So that's the episode. That's a pretty good one.
This is one of those that I really remember.
Really?
Yeah. For whatever reason, this one stuck with me.
I rewatched the show a few years ago, so I remember most of them. Like most of them, once they start, I'm like, okay, I remember what this one was.
Yeah, I haven't watched the show since I was a kid.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously there's a lot of humour with him having amnesia, and the fun stuff. Kat tried to convince him that they had a relationship when they didn't. Good stuff. Of course, the really neat moment that is a bit on the nose, but I kind of love it, is actually I'll complain first. I don't know why the hobo gives him a pair of glasses. He's sort of like, oh, this will make you look smarter. I'm like, what? This is weird. This was just to justify giving him a pair of glasses. But the moment where he's at the planet and Lois is like, oh hey, you've got like a spare pair of yours in the desk, and she like gets them out and like hands him glasses and and it's as she's putting the case back in the drawer that he swaps his glasses around. So her head just happens to be down whilst he's changing his glasses, and I thought that was a fun little moment.
Yeah, no, that was nice.
Just missing it. It was nice. And there's some good stuff, because Lex builds a bunker to save people, and he recreates Lois's apartment, and he's like, I want you to come down here and be safe, Lois. And instead,
Lex isn't totally evil this episode.
No, he's not. He's just kind of planning for the worst. And Lois instead wants to go and spend time with Clark. And he's even, oh, your parents are around? Okay, I guess I'll, And of course, Lois is the one who, has a moment with him, and he, sparks all of his memories, and he remembers who he is. But I did enjoy the alleyway where we had the fantastic recycling PSA.
Yes.
We got more of that because he tries to fly, and I actually laughed out loud because Martha just pushes him. He's all nervous, and she's like, just have a shove.
I mean, it'll be fine.
It will be, yeah. But it was still really funny. Just the visual of this older woman just going, here you go, son, just pushing him off the edge of the building, and he lands in the garbage. And I was like, oh, that's where we got that PSA. I like that this alleyway is in continuity. That it's not just that one little thing. It's still here.
It is there. The geography is intact.
Yes, and that's when Lois and him have his moment. But yeah. So actually, I think the detective, when they call in Lois to the police station. The actor playing the detective, I'm pretty sure that's the detective who pops up in a lot of different TV shows as the same character. He's one of the connecting factors that the Tommy Westhall, was that the name? Have you ever heard this theory that all these different TV shows take place in the same universe because the end of St. Elsewhere, that was the name of the show. There's a hospital show called St. Elsewhere.
Right.
And the end of the show revealed that the entire series had taken place inside the mind of this mentally ill child named Tommy West something. Right,
okay.
But the problem is that show had crossovers with Cheers and other shows, and it's like, okay, this is weird. And then someone did a map of different characters that crossed over, and it's way more than you think it would be. And I think this detective in this show is one of the characters that connects a bunch of different series. And it's
really?
Like, oh, now Lois and Clark's in this kid's head. Oh, so is Alien, so is Buffy, so all these things. Because it's actually, it connects to Wayland Yutani from Alien somehow, and then there's a reference to that in Angel, which means Buffy's also in this universe. It's a whole thing. Obviously, it's all just bullshit, but it's just a fun.
Sorry, how does it connect to Wayland Yutani?
I can't remember. I listened to a podcast episode about it once, and there's a map. You can look at. Do you know what? I'm going to get the map. What did you think of this episode while I get this map up?
No, it was a delightfully fun episode, isn't it? I think one of the highlights for me is the running gag of Kat just going, we had a thing. We kept it quiet, but we definitely had a thing. And him just looking kind of terrified, even though he shouldn't be. He has no idea, he doesn't remember what she's like. He doesn't know that she's just always like this. So he's just like, no idea what's going on.
I like when he sneezes and he causes a car to.
Yeah.
So I want the image for this specifically. There's a lot of great articles. West Hall. That was the name. Was the image here? And I was right. There was that detective. I just saw his image at the side.
Oh, okay.
At the side. Hold on. I'll just copy the name and get the image. This is interesting stuff. Seriously, this is a fantastic little. It's one of these just little things that once it's been pointed out, it's a fun little thing to theorize about and think about.
Okay.
Right, here's my image here, honey. My video will be a bit bright for a second. Well,
you get blinded.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Here we go. Let me get this. This is so good. This is a bit of a tangent for this. Oh god, where's the full size one though? Come on, this is so good. God damn it, WordPress, you're failing me. You're failing me.
Blaming WordPress.
That's WordPress's fault. Here we go. There's a bigger one. I know.
You got it?
I know where we're going. I do appear to have it. Yes, there we go. Full size. I can actually read the titles on this one.
You're gonna have to put a link to this in the description.
I am. It's so good. Right. So yeah. So there was a cop in St. Elsewhere that was on Homicide: Life on the Street, and then from there it was on. Someone was on that was in X-Files. St. Elsewhere, of course, connected directly to Cheers, which connects to Frasier, obviously. But that Cheers also crossed over with Wings and the Tortellis, which you may not even remember. Frasier had a crossover with Caroline in the City, which led to Friends, which leads to Mad About You and Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find where Doctor Who's in here. Red Dwarf. Where are we? The John Larroquette shows how it gets to Angel, somehow.
Somehow.
Which gets to Buffy, and probably Buffy and X-Files have a connection too. Look, it's just really good because there's a character on Arrested Development who played the same cop in like a bunch of shows as well over the years, and he ended up in Arrested Development as the same character, which over like 2 decades connects like tons of stuff. It's so good. It's so good.
I'm not actually looking at this right now. I'm going to look at this after we finish, I'm sure. But I'm just imagining one of these, the conspiracy pin boards.
Kind of. I mean, honestly, this diagram's not that great. It doesn't tell you who was in each show.
It just says they were linked.
Yeah, I'm doing that from memory. It's better to get someone to explain it who actually knows all the history and actually goes through all the links. Yeah. But it's a really fun idea. But yeah, that detective is part of this and why this is all connected. So just for the record, Malcolm in the Middle is in the same universe. There's something opposite and silly. Is in the same universe as Lost.
Now the question is, could we have linked Breaking Bad into this?
Oh, that's in it.
So there you go, because you can tie them in nicely.
Breaking Bad's in. All the Star Treks are in there. What are you looking at now?
Sorry, a moth just flew past my face.
We got spiders, we got moths,
we
got all sorts of things.
This is summer, folks.
Yeah, it's awful.
It is.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So yeah, you can go digging for that. You go digging for that. Yeah, John Munch is the name of that actor.
Okay.
He's an actor who appeared in a bunch of stuff, including X-Files and Homicide, and now this, obviously. Never seen by name in this, but I mean, it's pretty assumed because he's in the same type of outfit and he's playing the character.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Lois and Clark.
Yes. Where were we?
Where were we, indeed? So I like this episode a lot. I thought this episode. I like the idea that the scientist reaches out to Superman. I think that's a fun idea.
Yeah.
There's a small moment I love actually after they get the little press, the briefing right? And all the reporters are all running out. I love that Lois is like, Clark, stall that TV reporter, and she just pushes him, and she runs over to the phone because they're all rushing for the payphones because obviously.
And Clark just stands there and does nothing.
Yeah, and obviously these days everyone's got a phone, so that's been happening.
Yeah, this
was hilarious though. Lois actually sabotaging the other. Like, do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like everyone in school running for the good, like being front of the line at the dinner queue because the good food would always go quick or something. Like, you know, something like that. Where all kids would be like pushing each other out the way.
Right. Okay.
Like it would start off
a lot more chaotic than mine, apparently.
It would start off subtly, right, and you just kind of like just nudging your shoulder in front, so you're technically the one in front, and so on.
Well, fair enough.
It was like polite chaos.
Yeah, but I mean, we're British, so we queued. Yeah, there was still an order into the.
Well, it's not an orderly queue, but on the journey to the queue, you make sure you're just a step ahead.
That's fair, but once you're in that queue, that's it.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, the law's the law. You're in the queue. Yeah. You don't betray the queue.
It's pretty sacred, you know.
In fact, there's a great episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry David's in the queue. I think it's actually for a buffet. And someone behind him, like someone comes up and talks to the person behind him and starts like, oh, I've not seen you in a while, and starts chatting to this person who's behind him. And he's like, hey, wait a minute, I know what you're doing here. You're doing the stop and chat, and then you're going to talk to him for long enough that you're just going to, it'll just seem like you were in the queue with him, and you're just going to be ahead. So you know what? No, back of the line, right? And she goes to move, and then she turns around and is like, you know what? You have no business stepping into this argument. And she goes on for like a minute. He's like, I see what you're doing here. Now you're trying to do it with me by arguing with me about the argument about the queue. And you know what? I respect it enough that you can come in behind me. I respect it enough that you can do it. That's what I mean. If you're not seeing Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's about taking the small little things like that and making jokes out of them. But we keep sidetracking. I'm sorry. There's too many things. It's hot. I'm delirious. The heat's getting to me.
Yeah. You can probably expect this for the next couple of months. Let's be honest.
No, there's a lot of sweet moments though. Like I say, Lois and Clark like reconnecting, her making the choice to want to be with Clark if it's the end of the world. The little moment with Lois and Perry when he's like, she almost says goodbye, and she's like, "No, I'm just going to see him," because they think they might die.
And you got Clark. You know, even though he has no idea really that he doesn't really believe in it, he still is determined to do the right thing and help because he can't help himself.
Yeah, and of course, let's not forget the subplot with Jimmy. Like Perry's like, you know, because Jimmy has a hunch, and he's like, "Oh, what if Superman landed?" And they find the crater.
Yeah.
And later on, Perry's like, "You know what, kid? Why don't you write the article?" And he's like, "You sure? Like, am I ready for that?" It's like, I don't know if you're ready for that either, but now's the time to find out.
Find out, yeah.
And then he co-writes it with Lois. He's like, "Yeah, I need a partner." Yeah. Cat. Moths, spiders, cats. We're working our way up the food chain.
Jesus Christ! I loved the way it was there. This thing is pissing me right off.
I hate moths. If you like lights so much, go out during the day. You can have as much as you bloody want.
I don't even mind. I'll happily just squash the bastards. It's just I don't see it coming out of the corner of my eye. I turn it in front of my face, and I'm like, "Where the hell did you come from?"
Well, I got a comment on the Screams review for Jack Frost. That's surprising.
Okay, now we're way off topic. Who's watching Christmas movies at this time?
I know. Well, reviews of Christmas movies more.
Yeah, but that's just as bad.
Yeah, but it's got really sweet moments. This has been like the weirdest review of Lois and Clark ever. It's got lots of sweet moments. Jimmy's whole thing, like Perry giving him a shot, like everything about it's got this sweet of like. I think this episode is another great episode in the show because it's like, okay, this is the one that confirms they've all bonded. They're all like a family now. And we've gotten to that point, you know, because they've even reminisced, you know, Clark asked, like, oh, when we first met, did we like each other? And, you know, Lois has the fun stuff where she's like, oh, Clark, you know, I'm your superior, you know, I'm the senior partner of the
then
team.
Immediately after, she's like, no one's the boss.
Yeah. Actually, I like the joke at the start when the sun goes out for a bit. And he stops the car, and then the light comes back up, and he's like, I'll fly myself back. It was the worst dive in the history of dives.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be though. That was what was funny about it. So no, it was good. Yeah, honestly, the only thing I want to critique in the episode is the shitty CGI asteroid. But at the same time, I have to give them credit for even trying this in 1994.
Yeah,
was it 4?
Could have been 4.
Was this after the break at Christmas? I think it was 94.
If not, it was early 95, so it doesn't really matter.
What?
If it was after the break, it would have been 95.
No, it started in 93.
Oh, okay. I'm mixing up years.
Aye.
Give me peace. We just established it's hot and we're delirious.
Look, just because... Oh, this is... I know I'm tangenting a lot, but... Going back to the Tommy West, the West Hall theory, here's the interesting part I just thought of, is that one of the characters appeared in character on a talk show, meaning that technically the real world is also inside this kid's head. I just want to point that out. Come on, that's gold.
I'm sick of hearing about this theory now. You've ruined it for me. I could have had quite an enjoyable read about this theory or a listen on a serious podcast, and you have ruined it.
Oh my god!
Are we done on Lois and Clark? I mean,
I feel like we shortchanged it by tangenting so much, but
yeah.
It was a really good episode, though. It might even be the best. I mean, top 3 certainly by now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's up there for sure.
It's great. Season 1 of Lois and Clark is fantastic. Season 1, 2, 3, and 4 dip a little bit, and there's still fun to be had though there when we get there. But 1 and 2 are the gold standard, and this is in its prime. This is good stuff.
Yes.
Now, the next show we're going to talk about that's inside the Tommy West Hall universe is Smallville.
Is it?
I don't know if it is. I didn't check. I just wanted to make the joke that now everything's in that universe. So now we're just.
I mean, it might well be.
This is now the Tommy West Hall podcast, right? That's what this is.
Why not?
Everything's a spin-off of St. Elsewhere, including real life. Alright, so we're talking about Smallville, Season 1, Episode 11. And also, I love the idea that someone used the timestamps to skip to the Smallville review, didn't listen to the Lois and Clark section, and has no idea what we were talking about.
Serious question, though. If you did that, listener. Why? Why would you skip Lois and Clark and jump to Small... Why?
Yeah, shame on you. Alright, so this is Episode 11 of Season 1. It's called Hug. And... we have a character who can convince someone to do anything. Again, it's kryptonite. During the meteor shower, they got pinned down in a car. This guy can shake anyone's hand and convince them to do something. He can persuade them, and they'll follow that order until they act it out, or they're snapped out of it by some external interruption. And we see him kill someone at the start. This guy's trying to stop him from building a plant in Smallville because he gets past all the zoning commissions and all that just by convincing
he's
them.
Environmental protection something or other dude.
Yeah, not the guy with the power, the other guy who's trying to stop him.
Yeah, the guy who's trying to stop him. He's like, no, you ruin everywhere you go.
Yeah, and he makes him jump out the window and kill himself.
It's a pretty cool power, I'll be honest.
Yes. I almost felt they didn't go far enough, though, because there's this fun stuff when he goes to meet... because he wants to buy the farm, right? That's when he gets to Smallville, he wants to buy the Kent farm. And I actually really like this idea of, between this and then with Lex, of... the idea of what happens when he can't get the person to shake his hand, because Jonathan's got a glove on and it doesn't work, and he's like, shit, he has to find an excuse to help me up, I've tripped.
He's manipulative. It's like, can you give us a hand?
Yeah, and then with Lex, he's just like, no, Lex doesn't like you. He's never going to shake your hand. I almost want to call bullshit.
Unless you let him think he's won.
Yes, that's true. Yes, that's how it happens. So I guess that's okay. That side of the plot's okay. To an extent. The other guy, Kyle, whatever his name was, who lived in the woods, I get why he was there, and I like the message that it's there for Clark. There's he's been a hermit his entire life, or since this happened, because he's different. He doesn't want to be part of the world. And of course, the ultimate message is, Clark, don't do what I did, because he sees that he's got powers, and he's like, don't do what I did. Be a part of the world, right? And it's like, okay, that's a good message. Although they had it so heavy that admittedly they didn't know how long the show was going to last here, but they had it so heavy that I'm like, this feels like something you should do in the final season of this show. This message specifically.
It does a little bit, doesn't it? Because he is hiding for another 10 years now.
Exactly, right. This has to be more near the end of the story, not the first season.
I mean, I guess it works in that he doesn't shut himself off. He never comes out about his powers, right? But
yeah,
he doesn't shut himself off from the world. He still is a functioning member of society for the entirety of the show.
Yeah, there's truth there. But the whole thing with Whitney was tedious, which led to a lot of Clark Lana scenes. A lot. In fact, even before we get to Clark Lana, I have to talk about two of the worst foreshadowing puns in this entire show. One at the start of the episode, one at the end of the episode.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
One at the start, they're on horses, and Chloe's struggling, and Lana's asking Clark, what do you see yourself doing with yourself in the future? Are you going to go be a farmer like your dad? And so on and so forth?
Nah, no chance.
So I don't know what I'm going to do. As long as it doesn't involve putting on a suit and doing a lot of flying.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd forgive me for thinking that was going to be the worst one in the episode.
You would be forgiven, yes.
But somehow they top this at the end when Lex comes to see Clark, and of course when someone uses their power to make them do something, they don't remember any of that time once it's
so this is the first instance that someone discovers Clark and then forgets. This becomes a running thing.
It does, yes. It happens far too often. But Lex gets used to try and kill Clark, and this is actually where we discover that Clark is bulletproof, even though we know that as an audience. But this is the first time he properly gets shot, because he gets he's spraying machine gun ammo at him. So Clark tries to dodge, and I like the idea of this scene, at least, in terms of it's a machine gun.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, and he's trying to dodge all the bullets, and he dodges the first bunch of them, but eventually gets hit. Multiple times in the back, and we find out that he still gets bruised by them in this episode, so he's getting stronger still, because obviously eventually they're just going to bounce off him.
Yeah, but I mean, this is fine, he's still developing.
Yeah, that's a fine idea. I like the idea. Lex having the amnesia and forgetting that he knew, I hate. But he goes to the bar at the end, and he's standing with Clark, and they're talking about how these two guys were friends, Kyle and the bad guy. He's like, oh, and then they split apart, and he's like, do you ever think we'll get like that, Lex? And first of all, even before the response, I'm like, why would Clark even ask that? What even motivates him to think, oh, one day we'll be mortal enemies like those two guys? It's so forced and contrived. And then Lex responds, oh, trust me, Clark, our friendship will be the thing of legend. Who refers to their friendship as being as a thing of legend in the future? I don't get it.
An egomaniacal bastard like Lex?
This dialogue might be the worst dialogue of the show so far. This scene.
Pretty awful.
It's so forced. It's so forced.
It is. Also, reminds me, Pete got the shaft. Because there was a point where Pete shows up in this episode. I was like, oh yeah, Pete's a thing. I haven't seen him do anything in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a point after he gets shot and he's talking to his parents. He's like, I got shot and it was my best friend who did it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm like, what about Pete? Poor bastard.
Oh dear, that's pretty funny. And obviously he makes Jonathan sign the contract and sell the farm, which is obviously just fixed by the end of the episode. But Jonathan's like, I don't understand. I would never do this, and everyone. But let's talk about the Lana scenes. These are
we have to.
These are torturous, right? So basically, while they're out in the horses, she falls off the horse. Something happens, and when Clark comes to find her after the scream, he sees Kale over her, and it doesn't look that suspicious on its own. It's just kind of she screamed, and now he's standing over her. He kind of reacts a little bit, but Clark admits that afterwards, okay, he didn't really see him do anything. He could have just been checking on her, and he comes to his senses. But of course, Lana's aunt is like, oh no, he should be locked up in prison. Everyone should go in. And the whole idea being is that everyone just assumes he's a weirdo, therefore he's dangerous, and it's it's about prejudice, and okay, fine theme to be hitting, right?
Yeah.
But Lana's thinking this, Whitney especially, and Whitney's dropping. He's like, oh Clark, if I was there, I'd have done something. Stare, that way he stares at him after he says that.
And it's like, what do you say to that?
Yeah. It's like, no, he's just misunderstood. He's an okay guy, whatever, right? That's kind of what we're learning throughout the episode. So, Whitney gets convinced by the bad guy to go and try and kill the guy, and Clark falls him out. Kill Kyle, and Clark stops him. Everyone forgets, and Whitney's like horrified by the idea that Clark doesn't believe that because Clark's like, yeah, Kyle said you swung at him first.
Yeah, no, this is the thing. So Clark gets there, and obviously we know he did swing at Kyle first. We saw that, but Clark gets there, and he just stops Kyle hitting him with the bat, and he steps in.
Yes.
Fair enough. And then afterwards, Kyle's like, hey, he swung at me first. I was defending myself, and people are not really sure what to believe, understandably. Mm-hmm. And then it cuts back to the back of the coffee house, and I think it's Lana and accusing him, saying, why are you spreading this stuff about Whitney that he that he went and attacked him? Why are you? And it's like, he's not the one spreading it. That was the other guy's story. You can't just discount that.
Yeah, it's not like Clark's spreading anything.
Clark didn't make it up. Someone said that.
Honestly, I don't. I think the mistake you're looking at here is different than what the mistake actually is. I think what happened here, all that's happened is that Whitney told Lana what Clark said, and now that's what Lana's confronting him about. She just phrases it in a really weird, stupid way.
That might be the case. Yeah.
Yes. That's not my. I mean, it's annoying.
That's a problem.
My problem with this is not that though. My problem is like, why are you spreading this about Winnie? You're always out to get him. You just don't like him. And last episode, the very last episode, was Clark ruining his own chance with Lana to stick up for Whitney, who was being a bit of a dick. But he was being a dick because his dad was sick, and he sticks up for him, and he put them back together. Clark put them back together. And the very next episode, Lana's like, you just hate Whitney. You just want to see him get, put down no matter what.
And she goes, oh, he wouldn't hurt anyone. And Clark goes, well, he did tie me up in a field.
Which is a good point.
I think it's a perfectly fair response. And she goes, oh, you still not forgiving him for that?
Is that what this is about? Is it about revenge? Lana, you're being a complete tool.
If he wanted revenge, he'd have slept with you last week.
Yes. Although this is a wholesome TV show, no one's having sex yet, Connor.
Sure.
Because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a big virginity episode with Lana at some point. That's going to happen. I'm sure that happens at some point. I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. Cause it might not happen with Whitney, because if I recall, Whitney only lasts this season.
Yeah, it's not with Whitney, but I can see it happening. Unless maybe it's just Clark and she's like, oh, I've done it before with Whitney. Maybe that's the thing that happens. But,
maybe.
TV show rules. Anyway, I don't get her. It's like, she's always annoying and terrible, but she's actively just incorrect in what she's saying in this episode repeatedly.
Yeah.
It's just
awful.
It's awful. And so there's also a scene where to prove that he's got the power, Kyle, because Chloe's accusing him, and she's like, okay, prove it, make me do something. And you know where this is going, right? Even if you haven't seen it before, you know exactly what he's going to make her do. And he shakes her hand, he's like, alright, you have feelings for Clark, act upon him, tell him now. And he doesn't actually know she has feelings for him, he's just going for it. But we know she does. But
we know she does, but the point is that his power, even if she didn't, would make her think that she did.
So she kisses Clark, and it's all very awkward. He's like trying to fight away, not too hard. I mean, he is Superman after all. He could push her away if he really wanted to. And then she realised what she'd done. It's kind of awkward. And she almost looks as she feels violated, which really just made me stop and like have a dark real life like moment.
Yeah.
Given the real life, future for Alison Mack, but it's okay. The scene on its own is a fun way to prove the point.
Yeah, it's a classic staple of these sorts of things.
Yeah. Make her kiss someone. Yeah, easy enough. So, yeah, I mean the core ideas behind the message it wants to say are fine. But it's so infected with this weird jealousy and fight and stuff. And even though it's not as terrible as the first scenes with Lana, the scene where they make up later on, even the scene where she tries to make up, it's like, and then it's like,
and he's like, wait, you came here for me to apologize? No.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, I thought I'd come and save a relationship, or a friendship, but I guess it wasn't worth trying. It's like, you coming just to like demand an apology from him is not saving your friendship. That's you just making an ultimatum. And then secondly, when they do actually make up at the end, it's like, oh yeah, our friendship's worth more than one fight. We'll be friends for a long time, Clark. I'm like, this dialogue is awful. No one speaks like this. No one talks about their friendship with someone in these terms where they quantify it and talk about how long it's going to last, or talk about, like, Connor, how often, when have we ever sat and talked about our friendship and said, oh, our friendship's really good. We're lucky. It's going to last a long time.
Yeah, I don't think ever, unless at some point when I was absolutely hammered.
Yes, maybe when you're drunk. Yeah, that's when it sounds okay. Is when you're drunk.
Yeah, but that only works if the other person's drunk as well. Then I can believe that as plausible writing.
And equally, when two friends fight, they don't necessarily have to actually talk about the fact that they can survive a fight. They just get over it and move on, and the thing will patch up.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I mean,
don't get me wrong.
I don't know. Maybe high school shite can get away with it.
Don't get me wrong. This is not something that this show is like solely guilty for. This is something that TV writing in general is guilty of.
Yeah.
It just feels like everything's turned up to 11 on this one. Like all the bad writing quirks, all that stuff is all turned up to 11, and it makes me want to just like throw blades at every character.
Not gonna do much good against Clark.
Yeah, I'll kill the rest, and he'll be upset.
Someone got Mopey Clark. Is that much better?
What, in your world, the show still goes on?
Yeah, for some reason. I don't know
and
why.
we still have to watch it? That's...
I don't know what's going on here.
I need to get in touch with Tommy Westhall and just ask him to delete this show. Just like, hey, stop imagining this one.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. This one's animated, so I'm not sure if I can connect it into the whole connected universe theory. But we're doing Young Justice. We're doing Alienated, which is season 2, episode 3, and it's kind of the end of a trilogy of the setup of the season, where the Justice League at the end, specifically the ones who lost 16 hours, plus Hawkman and Icon, who's going to kind of be their lawyer essentially.
The intergalactic lawyer, because he just knows that stuff apparently.
Yeah. Well, he's an alien, so he's
no, but the way just like, oh yeah, he's pretty familiar with intergalactic law. It's cool.
So they're off planet, meaning that the Nightwing is going to have to lead the Young Justice squads to protect Earth, which leaves me wondering where any of the Flashes are. There's been no Men Flash, no Wally Flash, no Flashes. I'm curious.
Yeah. Conspicuously absent, aren't they?
Yes, someone who was absent before this episode was Aqualad.
He was, but no longer.
He is now working with his father. It seems that Aquagirl perished somewhere between these 5 years, and he blames the team for it. He blames for being lied to about his parenthood. The fact that Black Manta is his father, and he is now Black Manta Junior, and he's helping. And it's funny because they actually question at the end. And I'm not actually sure if Black Manta's plan was to help the Krolatanes, to kill the Krolatanes, or what. But either way, he collects them all, and then there's a bomb, and Aqualad's gone full evil. And so we'll see how that pans out. So obviously there's action scenes and stuff.
Yeah, an interesting shift in the dynamic, right? Because obviously, like I say, one of the ones that we didn't know where he was, and it's like, okay, this is even more different than the ones that we did know.
Oh sure, yeah. This was mostly the one action thing. There's obviously some setup when Miss Martian and Co get back and inform everyone of what's happening, and they find this Krollatane base. And they go to
Bibbo's.
They go to Bibbo. Yeah, we get Bibbo. We get fake Bibbo first, then we get real Bibbo. Bibbo, if you're not familiar with him, is a character from Superman. He's like a Superman fan, and he owns a restaurant and or bar, depending on
depending on the time. Yeah.
It was a restaurant here, but or a diner, maybe is more accurate.
I think it was a diner. Yeah.
But yeah, so we have that. But the big things that they set up are there's a mysterious new opponent to the Krolatanes, which we find out at the end is alongside the Light, and we see that Black Manta's basically just been put in the Light. He's replaced Ocean Master. He's now been given that spot, and they are working with this opponent, whoever it may be.
The Krolatanes refer to them as the competitor.
The competitor. That was what I was saying. Opponent. Yeah, the competitor. So that is very curious.
Yeah, it's interesting because their reasons for thinking the competitor is involved are someone hired Lobo. Or is it, I like that they call him the main man.
Yeah, even because there's subtitled alien speaking, they're calling him the main man.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice little touch, I'll be honest. And they mentioned the competitor warrior showing up. Which, I mean, you have to assume would be Blue Beetle, right? Because they reacted to Blue Beetle.
Yes, yeah, Blue Beetle and Bumblebee were the ones dealing with the fake Bibble at the start, yeah.
But they reacted to Blue Beetle in the first episode, right? They all ran away from him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that's an alien in origin.
Yes.
Often. I did enjoy him talking to it a little bit and Bumblebee.
Yeah. The inner monologue. We're only getting the one side, but so is everyone else.
Yeah.
They're this guy's a little weird.
Yeah, no, it was good. I like the sense of history when we found out about Aqualad, because Lagan is like, oh, you're a traitor. He's really heavily Aquaman wants to bring him back. He's like, no, come back over to our side. Let's work this out. He wants to sort of rehabilitate him, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
And Lagan's like, no, you're a traitor. You're a filthy traitor. Death to you, Aqualad.
Yeah.
And, he wants to do that. So, there's some fun action stuff. Obviously, we had Team Bat, and even at the end when the Justice League leave, we have Robin and Batgirl with Nightwing. So we do have kind of this extended group of characters that are part of Young Justice now, who seemingly, much like last season, I expect various episodes will revolve around one group, or any sort of team up of two, or just one character or whatever.
Yeah, of course. We got that a lot last season. We had the Wally episode, for example.
Exactly, yeah. I'd be expecting a lot of that, especially since they all kind of fit into their own little groups now. Like I say, the Bat family.
Yeah, and we know that they form sub-teams as well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, we got Team Alpha, Team Bravo, whatnot,
Yeah, yeah.
or Beta, whatever it
Beta,
was.
yeah.
It's Beta. There you go. When you're using those terms, it's always Alpha, right? There's not like because you've got Beta or you've got Bravo, depending on which system you're using, but it's always Alpha.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just gonna check now.
I think it is.
I think it is always Alpha first. I'm just checking.
Because Alpha Team and Bravo Team is definitely a thing. Which is why that's the Stars team from Resident Evil. That's why I went to Bravo.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at the NATO one, which is Bravo.
Yeah, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta,
is Alpha, but it's apparently according to Wikipedia that I'm looking here. They spell it ALFA, whereas
really?
Usually when I think of Alpha, it's ALPH. Yeah.
I honestly never knew it was spelt that way, but the other version.
According to the NATO phonetic alphabet, which is that one. Yeah, because they go Alpha, Bravo, Charlie.
Then Delta, I think.
Yeah, Delta, Echo. It goes on and on. Yes.
That's as far as I don't know what G is.
See, that's when it gets weird because those ones you can kind of all guess, right?
Yeah.
Then it goes to golf. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I tap out. I don't know past F.
Yeah. No, me either. But I thought it was like, why is that spelled with an F?
That's weird. I don't know. Learn something every day.
Yeah.
There's some moment here is when everyone's busted in and Superman and Superboy team up and work together quite well. They're even like joking. They seem to have a much better relationship than before. They're like, oh, triple hitter, and they're hitting the big robot crab things. Same with Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl jump in, and Wonder Girl is like fangirling to the point where Wonder Woman actually calls it. That's like less fangirl, more Wonder Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, some nice moments. Some nice moments, especially for losing in the Justice League for a while, which we seem to be. It's nice that they all had kind of these moments with their mentors before they shipped out. So
and it makes sense as to ship off the League just from a plot reason, just so we can't rely on them all the time.
Exactly, yeah. Because this first batch of episodes, last week's not so much because it was just that one team on the on Ran.
On Ran, yeah.
But here it very much felt like this is equally a Justice League episode as it is a Young Justice episode. So it's nice. Okay, that's fine to set up here and there, but it's still meant to be Young Justice as a show. So it makes sense to get rid of them, and it's going to be them. Because it's also a good drama because they have to step up and
exactly, and it works as well for start of the season, do a big blockbuster. Here's the League, get everyone excited, and then we go okay, now everyone else.
And we basically learn that the 16 hours the League terrorized and like destroyed tons of shit and basically said, we are the Justice League of Earth. Like everyone should be afraid of us,
And they said it in multiple alien languages so that they'd be sure to be understood.
Yes, and interestingly, John has never heard about this from the Guardians. The Corps doesn't know about this, so he's going to have to find out about that.
I really appreciate that they questioned that, though.
Yeah.
Like, hey, shouldn't you know that we're criminals?
Yeah, no, there you go. So that's Young Justice, which does bring an end to the show. Obviously, if we had multiple new shows, we'd be picking our favourite of the week right here, but obviously that's not a thing. So, because there's only one show. And then next week, there'll be no shows. Next week, you'll be getting a Lois and Clark, a Smallville, and 2 episodes of Young Justice, and that'll be the summer schedule. At least for this year. I think it'll maybe be different in future off-seasons when we're not catching up on an animated show, where we'll maybe have another show instead of like 2 of the same one, and we'll have like 4 different shows.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's better for variety's sake. But for now, we want to be done with Young Justice in a timely fashion, so that whenever the new season launches, we're caught up for it.
Which we should. Obviously, we'll get some news next month for Comic-Con. I'm expecting a date for at least the DC service. And we don't know that Young Justice is going to be launch yet.
It's fairly. They've already recorded all the dialogue, so there's a good chance.
They have. I know, like about a month or 2 ago, they said they'd only finished like 3 episodes at that point. So I mean, we'll see, but. They might leave that till a month later. Start with the live action, then bring that in a little bit later.
Yeah, they might. But hey, so yeah. But otherwise, that get us on Patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can support us over there. You can also support us by liking, subscribing, and all the usual stuff. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the Supergirl finale. If you're watching these classic episodes along with us, or if you're just remembering them, let us know what you think of them too. But otherwise, that is us. So. that's just. So thank you very much for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys, and maybe I won't tangent so much next week, or maybe I'll tangent more. We'll see how it goes. Maybe people love that, the tangenting. I don't know. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. And always remember to never get. Nope, that's the wrong show. That's the comic show. Always remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.